Hello, today let's study passive voice, okay? Here we have one example from a local newspaper in England, right? Bank robbery at First National Bank. Police were called to the First National Bank yesterday. The bank was robbed at 12:15 p.m. $1 million was stolen, no customers were hurt, but one robber was shot by police. Here we have examples of passive voice, right? What is a passive voice? Is the language that we use when we are watching the news, example, when we are reading scientific papers, scientific journals, or news on television, right? One example here is police were called. This is one example, okay? The bank was robbed. That's another example. $1 million was stolen. That's another example. No customers were hurt. That's another example, okay? And no robber was shot by police. And continue reading the news. We have here the bank robbers have not been found. This is another example of passive voice. The same headline about the same news, right? Another one here we have the robbers were caught on video. Another example of the headline. And another example here, no bank customers were hurt. They are all the headlines from the same news. And now the use of passive, okay? When we don't know who or what is responsible for the action, okay? That's the case of using passive voice. Example, my bike was stolen last week. The action here is more relevant, more important. My bike was stolen. We don't want to know who, okay? It's not important to know who, but the action that my bike was stolen last week. Number two, for stylistic reasons, especially to allow the main focus of the sentence to be the subject of the verb. For example, we have here the saxophone is quite a modern instrument. It was invented around 1840 by Adolphe Sax and has since become an essential part of jazz and popular music. And now let's see the tense of the passive constructions is determined by the tense of the verb to be. So we can use several verb tenses, okay? But pay attention to the construction. Example, we have here, most children toys are made in China. So we have a verb to be and a verb in past participle, made, okay? Most children toys are made in China. This is a typical example of present simple passive. This shirt was bought in Italy. Here we have the verb to be plus a verb in past participle. This is another example, but this sentence is in the past simple. We say that it's past simple passive. Another example, by August, the roof had been repaired, but the windows were still being replaced. Here we have two examples. We have the first example is past perfect, and the second one here is past continuous. So we have past perfect passive and past continuous passive, okay? Another example, the film will be shown at cinemas next month. Here we have a typical future simple passive. Again, if you notice, we have the verb to be and a verb in the past participle. Okay, what you should pay attention is in all the sentences we have a verb in past participle. Se você não sabe o que é past participle, consulta a lista de verbos. É a terceira coluna da lista de verbos. Os verbos que não estão na lista de verbos, como por exemplo replaced, que é um verbo regular, todo verbo regular termina com ed. tá? Os outros verbos você tem que consultar a lista de verbos ou você já sabe de cor. Por exemplo, make, made, made, o verbo fazer, né? Então a terceira coluna de make é made. A mesma coisa para o verbo comprar, buy, buy, bought, bought. Então o past participle é bought. Alright, guys? So don't forget, verb to be plus a verb in past participle. That's the basic formula. Now, verbs with two objects, okay? With verbs that often have two objects, and verbs like give, offer, owe, award, tell, send, teach, etc., either object can become the subject of a passive sentence. Example, John was given the prize for best costume. Okay, we have was given, verb to be plus a verb in past participle. It's a past simple passive, or you can say the prize for best costume was given to Jack. Okay. If we include an agent, we usually put it at the end of the sentence. Example, she was offered a new job in the company by her boss. So in the case, the agent is her boss, okay? Again, the structure we have here was offered. It's in past simple passive. Verb to be plus a verb in past participle, okay? Verbs like know, believe, and think are often used in passive constructions, especially in formal language, and are followed by an infinitive. Example, at that time, the word was thought to be flat. Okay? It's a very formal kind of construction, right? We can also use an impersonal construction with it plus passive. Example, at that time, it was thought that the word was flat. Okay? And it is known that Beethoven suffered from lead poisoning. Okay? So it is known, it is now known. So we have it plus a verb to be and a verb being past participle. Here the same, it plus a verb to be and a verb being past participle. So and here comes the summary of passive voice, okay? We have active and passive voice. Example, in present simple, reporters write news reports. This is passive, okay? Here we have a subject. Reporters, they do this, right? They write. So we have here the active sentence. Reporters write new reports. How do you transform? New reporters are written by reporters. Okay? Present continuous. Mike is baking a brownie. So how do you transform it to a passive? A brownie is being baked by Michael. Here in past simple, the company hired new workers last year. How do you transform? New workers were hired by the company last year. Past continuous. The salesman was helping the customer when the thief came into the store. How do you transform? The customers was being helped by the salesman when the thief came into the store. Present perfect. They have already discussed the book. How do you transform? The book has already been discussed. All right? Continuation here. Past perfect example we have here. He had delivered the letters. How do you transform to passive? The letters had been delivered. Okay? Future simple. The company will hire new workers. New workers will be hired by the company. Infinitive. She has to deliver the letters. The letters have to be delivered. Okay? Modal verbs. She must deliver the letters. The letters must be delivered. Okay? So with modal verbs, you use the modal verb plus a verb to be and a verb in past participle. You have just to pay attention that we have always a verb to be and a verb in past participle. So don't forget it. Be hired. Example here, being delivered, and etc. Right? So, and that's the end of our lesson. If you want to learn more about passive and active voice, please go to one of these links we have here. They are all videos in YouTube, right? If you want to try your knowledge, try this oral test we have here, and you can test yourself, okay? I hope you have learned so much. See you.